Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into the gap year. My guest today is Lisa Chesney Leeke. She is the Director of First Year Abroad Partnership with CIEE, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Absolutely. So I actually did my undergraduate degree at Rochester Institute of Technology. I
Oh,
earned my Bachelor of Fine Arts. I was a visual media major many years
wow.
ago.
Fantastic. So let's just go back in time before we get started in what you're doing now. Um, in high school, when did you start thinking about going to college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year? When did it all begin for you?
Absolutely. So I'm actually the youngest sibling. So the thought of college planning, I really started when kind of my sister was really exploring that process. So I'm going to say it really was about I'm gonna say eighth, ninth grade is really when that started because that's really when my older sister really was diving into that process.
Gotcha.
So as she is doing some research and thinking more about her search was the first time that I really kind of paused to think of, what is it that I would want to do in a few years? This is going to be me. So I think I kind of had a slow build in terms of starting to think about my college process, but really I didn't dive into building my list and really thinking about the schools that I wanted to apply to until really the end of ninth grade, really into that 10th grade year.
Okay. So now you was that the only college that you ended up picking, or applying to?
I applied to numerous schools. I think I applied to, it was around six institutions. I had a couple different offers that came back. So, really trying to make that decision was ultimately kind of trying to figure out what was the best fit for me, of where I felt most comfortable, where I thought I was going to excel. And I think fit came down to really the big factor in ultimately deciding on RIT as my institution.
So now you're at RITS. What do you think of the school when you get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely cold. If anyone's been to Rochester, New York, it is cold, it is snowy, it's a little gray. I think at the time, just the sheer size of that. I went to a smaller to more mid-sized high school, so I knew going to any kind of larger, mid-sized to larger school, college or university was going to feel large. So I think I was trying to mentally prepare myself for that, but really, moving day and stepping foot on campus, and there's hundreds of that, like if not thousands of other students who are also moving in, did feel like a lot. So I think part of kind of my thought process to myself was, giving myself some grace and kind of becoming comfortable with the size of the institution, both just geographically, kind of navigating my way around campus, but then also socially, trying to navigate all of the different groups, student organizations, classes, residence halls, all of that of, kind of making friends and socializing at my pace.
So how does one go from graduating school there to becoming the director of first year abroad partners?
Absolutely. I get that question a lot. How do you go from being an art major to really, ultimately working in education? How does this work? So while I was at RIT is really kind of, I became a really involved student while I was on campus. I was an orientation leader. I was a student ambassador. I really was quite involved with the campus and the campus community. And really it was about my junior year of college. I don't want to say I had a little crisis, but in other words, I had a little crisis of, the job search and what comes next. And I was doing visual media and I had this plan in place of when I started the college experience, what I thought I wanted to do with my career. But through these different involvement opportunities while I was on campus, I learned about so many other career fields, and one of those really being, working in higher education. So I had a great mentor in our director of orientation who kind of sat me down one day and said, "You do realize you can do this as a career. There is a pathway for that. So, really, from my undergraduate career, I did go on, I got my master's of education following that. And that really led to kind of my interest in study abroad and international education. I was fortunate enough to be able to study abroad while I was in college. I was an avid traveler kind of growing up. I was fortunate enough that my parents kind of took us on a lot of different vacations to experience other countries' cultures, and I got the bug. I did. I got the travel bug, and really being able to work at CIEE is a beautiful merger of all of my areas of passion, of really being able to work with students in their college education journeys while also merging that with some travel and some cultural experiences. So I would say really it is kind of every piece of my college and my graduate journey that really ultimately led me to my current position in working with CIEE.
So now tell us a little bit about CIEE. What does it do? How does it work? What do you actually do there?
Yes, absolutely. So CIEE is actually the oldest, largest nonprofit study abroad organization in the country. We have been operating for 77 years now. So really have been doing study abroad and cultural exchange programs for students really immediately after World War II. So it has been a long-standing tradition. It's a very mission-driven organization that the focus is on helping students and people of a younger generation really experience other countries and cultures to really ultimately help foster global peace. I think a lot of that comes down to just an openness and an understanding of other countries, other cultures, other belief systems. And really, with the program that I work with in particular, is our first year abroad program, which is a really exciting opportunity that actually lets students start their college experience by studying abroad. So I think a lot of times you hear college, study abroad. It's like, oh, well, that's something I have to do. I have to be a junior or a senior in college before I get to have these opportunities. And really, with our first year abroad program, that's not the case. You actually get to start your college experience by studying abroad. And in my role in particular, I work with really all of our college and university partners in all of those relations as it connects to the first year abroad program.
So, what is the first year abroad program? That's where I start.
Absolutely. So, first year abroad is just that. It is starting your college experience by studying abroad. You can go abroad immediately following high school graduation, either for one semester or a full year. I know sometimes the name first year abroad can be deceiving. It doesn't have to be a full year, it could just be a one semester experience. But really, first year abroad gives students exposure to another country, another culture, really some of these real world experiences to help them really identify and feel confident in knowing what it is that they're looking for from their college experience, what it is that they're looking for in their future career goals. I think it is a lot, for a 18-year-old to know what it is that they want to do for the rest of their life. Clearly, based off of my story, college me to grad school me to now professional me, those plans changed along the way. And it was having meaningful experiences that helped shape that pathway. And that's really what first year abroad is all about, is helping give students real world experiences, experience other aspects of the world, getting outside of the United States, and then utilizing those experiences to help shape that overall college and career journey.
So now, what's the difference with first year study abroad and the gap year that
Yeah,
people talk about?
absolutely. So I think one of the big differences comes down to first year abroad having full college credit. While students are on a first year abroad program, they are earning 12 to 13 college credits every semester. So it is a credit bearing program. But I think kind of the nice thing with first year abroad, too, I always say it's kind of the best of both worlds, that students are getting to go abroad. They're getting to have this cultural travel life experience similar to a gap year program, but you're also making that progress towards your overall undergraduate degree. So it is that best of both worlds, kind of that hybrid based experience of taking a gap year or going directly to a college or university. First year abroad kind of sits in the middle and lets you have a little bit of both.
Nice. So if a student is accepted already somewhere at the college level, um, is that what they do? Is they defer to go study abroad first? How does that work?
Absolutely. So students really have kind of two different pathways for joining first year abroad. We have students who have an official acceptance into a college or university and need to explore that deferral pathway. And we also have students who apply directly to CIEE first year abroad first and are kind of utilizing their first year abroad experience to gain some additional time in making their ultimate college decision. So there's kind of two different kind of pathways that students are doing in that overall college admissions process. But first year abroad I think is a really great benefit because there are a lot of top colleges and universities that actually encourage students to take a gap year because they want them to gain these meaningful life experiences before starting on their campus. I think one of the things, and research proves this too, that students who do take a gap year and have some of these life experiences are starting on their college campuses. They tend to graduate more likely on time, they're retained at a higher rate. A lot of them, they tend to have a higher college GPA as well. And a lot of that comes down to students having this greater level of focus on their overall academics and even confidence in the direction that they are pursuing in their college journey because they have had that real world experience to make them kind of more focused and to help them be more confident in knowing the pathway that they are looking for in terms of their overall college and career journey.
So now what happens to the student once the program is finished? Once they do that first year, do they continue? Do they come back? How does that work?
Absolutely. So, like I said, students can do one semester or a full year, regardless, whenever they are completing their first year abroad program. They really have any option. I always say sky's the limit for the students who did have that offer of acceptance at that college or university. They are able to get their transcript directly from our academic home and school of record institution, take that to that other institution, show them the credits that they've earned, have that awarded for transfer credit. And for those students who, let's say, aren't necessarily affiliated with a specific college or university before they're starting their first year abroad journey, if students want that guaranteed pathway to college, they can enroll and start their on campus experience directly at our academic home and school of record, which is Dean College. Dean College is a liberal arts college right outside Boston. They're in Franklin, Massachusetts. Students want that guaranteed pathway, they have it. They're a Dean College student. Students could also look and explore transferring to one of our first year abroad college partners. There's a growing list of our college partners. These are all colleges or universities that have said, we want students coming to our college or university following first year abroad because of those benefits that I was just talking about of that increased focus, confidence in their decision making. But that's not to say students have always had a dream school in mind,
Yeah.
that they've always had dreams of going to X institution. They can just as well take their transcript from Dean College and apply to that dream school as a transfer student. And really, students being really reflective of this meaningful international experience and taking that college transcript, showing directly that dream school how they perform at the college academic level, it makes them a pretty standout transfer applicant.
Yeah. What type of students actually go on the study abroad?
I would say all types of students. I don't think, I know that's not a helpful answer, but I don't think there is exactly one type of student that goes particularly on first year abroad. I see a lot of students who are maybe looking for that additional time to make that college decision, that are seeing first year abroad as kind of that point of being able to research and learn a little bit more about themselves to make that decision. I think we see students who want that travel and cultural experience, who are looking to, get outside their hometown, their home state, experience part of the world before starting directly on campus at college. We definitely see the students who were offered that let's a lot of times it's a spring semester offer of admissions who are looking for kind of a fall experience. I think we also see a lot of students who are potentially considering enrolling directly at an international college or university who are interested in earning their degree from an institution, and they see first year abroad as really a great kind of trial period, if you will, for what would it be, to go move to the United Kingdom and earn my college degree at a UK institution. First year abroad is kind of a safe way or a lower risk option for those students to really assess, am I going to be happy, living that far away from home?
Now, do you find a lot of students picking the UK and Australia? Do they have to know the language, or do you see a lot of students going to Italy and Spain and things like that?
Really great question. So, in terms of language requirements for first year abroad, knowing the local language, it's not required. All of the courses are taught in English. So, in terms of academics, it is English level learning, but there's some really great opportunities for students, even if you don't know the local language, to pick up on some of it. Living in that immersive environment, you will be amazed how much language acquisition you gain. Let's say you go to Kyoto, Japan, for example, and you've never taken, one course, one Babbel or even Duolingo lesson in Japanese, you can still go. You can have this wonderful experience with first year abroad, but you'll be amazed how much Japanese you actually start picking up. You're going to start just naturally identifying characters and terms and phrases just through your day-to-day living of experiencing this other culture, city, and language.
So that brings me to another question: is the housing? What is the housing like? Is it different in each country and things like that?
Great question. So, yes, housing does vary just based off of the location, but all students on a first year abroad program live in what we call a supportive housing environment. And really, what that means is something goes bump in the night. There is a door to shuffle down the hallway in your slippers and knock on. Whether that be you're living with a host family and having a full immersive experience, you have that host family support living right in with you, or you're living in a residence hall and the residence hall would also have a resident assistant, an RA. So either way, whether you're living with a host family or you're living in a residence hall, you have that live-in support, because we know for a lot of first year abroad students, this could be the first time that many of them are living away from home and without their family for this period of time.
Now, what is the application process for a student? Do they come directly to you?
Great question. So it's very similar to the college application process. So students do apply directly to CIEE. They go right to our website. They fill out their first year abroad application for the specific location that they are interested in. So students do get to choose the location that they want to have their first year abroad experience in. Students will go through that application process. What they're going to be filling out is really similar to what they would be filling out and sharing that information from like Common App. So there isn't really anything additional that they would need. Then they would receive their overall acceptance offer from both CIEE and Dean College. They need to be accepted to both parties. We help streamline that process for them. And I think an important thing to note with first year abroad too is the first year abroad application deadline is actually much later than most college application deadlines. So, for example, for a fall semester program, the application deadline to do a first year abroad in fall actually isn't until June 1st. So, there is additional time for students to apply to first year abroad. And the same is true for our spring semester programs as well.
So now, how do they find CIE?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of different ways that students can connect with CIEE. One of the easiest ways is just going directly to our website. We are just ciee.org. And from there, you can really dive in and research all of those study abroad programs that are available for high school graduates. Our enrollment coordinator team is also always available to meet with students, whether it be virtually online, phone calls, emails. So connecting with an enrollment coordinator in your area as well. And you can connect and schedule a call directly on our website with an enrollment coordinator. You can also join one of our virtual information sessions. We host a variety of different information sessions Every month, we have a session to learn more about both the first year abroad program and our gap year abroad program as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities to connect with us.
Wow. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents and the students that want to do something like this? What advice do you want to give them?
Absolutely. I think the advice that I share with even my friends' kids, as they're looking and applying to college, is to do what is best for you as an individual. I think to not feel like there is a set pathway that you need to follow of, I graduated college. That means I go to 4-year college or university immediately following that fall semester. That pathway isn't right for every student, and it's not the best fit for every student. So I think a lot of my advice for both students and parents and their support system is to have that honest conversation of, what your goals are and what pathway best aligns and sets you up for success for achieving those ultimate goals. Even if that does mean considering, maybe a lesser traditional option like a first year abroad or a gap year abroad program.
Well, great. Thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. It was great chatting with you.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.